Welcome to the very first episode of my podcast, Intuition with Ange. I am going to be talking today about stepping out of fear, and that is something that I have been working on for a long time, and that I think will resonate with a lot of people. Because I think we live life in fear mostly, and that's what's limiting us to our potential. I'd love to share with you a little bit about my story, and just where I've been and how I got here. So my name is Angelina, but I normally go by Ange. And you can find me on Instagram at intuitive_Ange, A-N-G. I have been wanting to step into bravery for a long time. I've been working with a coach to sort of change my mindset. And it all sort of started when I had a spiritual awakening about just over a year ago. I was sort of in the midst of just living a life that wasn't for me. So I was studying full-time at uni, and the degree I was doing meant I had to spend a lot of time away working in hospitals and stuff like that as part of like placement. And it was all not for me. It was for my parents, because they had told me that I had to go to uni. And I just started feeling like I am so unhappy. I don't want this. And so I asked for a message from the universe, and I got a message, and then I didn't believe it. And so I asked for another one, and I ended up actually manifesting a major like car accident where I was completely safe. I didn't get injured, but my car was written off, and um I was trapped essentially in a couple of hours away from home, because I was away for placement. And I I took that as like a wake up call to start listening to myself and what I want. And so I invested in coaches and things like that. But my biggest lesson would be knowing that you don't want something is enough. Knowing that what's happening right now is a choice you're making is very important to know. And I think that I started wanting to change and showing up every day wanting to change and stepping out of fear. And I've completely transformed my life. I've manifested so much crazy stuff. And even if it's like small, tiny things like a paycheck that like wasn't meant to come, or like a date, things like that, I've just like completely transformed my life. Um, from being in a place where I felt stuck in my house and in my family by what they expected me to do and act, to living in someone else's house for a month and a half because they're overseas and I'm taking care of their pets. Like I just created so much freedom, and all I wanted was to be free and to choose for myself. And I did. And I want you to know that the things that you want, you can have. And it doesn't have to take a long time. And the main thing that allowed me to get those things that I wanted was being brave asking myself what I want, because I don't think anyone had been asking me, and I had just been expected to do. And I allowed that to play out. But asking myself what I wanted and truly sitting down and spending time with myself and feeling into my body transformed my life. And like, I spent thousands of dollars on coaching, and the most significant part of that coaching was asking questions. And it was just the fact that I started asking questions about my life and what I wanted and where I was and what was limiting me that caused this massive change. And part of my journey of stepping out of fear is creating this podcast, because I have a lot of fear, or I have had a lot of fear over my own voice. And I know deep down that my voice is my tool, and it's going to be what I use to create change, to lead my life. And I need to stop silencing myself. So making this podcast is me deciding today that I'm stepping out of my fear, and I am being. I am limitless, and I need to accept that. The limits that I have were all created by my thoughts. And that's awesome to realize, because, like, oh my God, your life is going to change when you allow it to change. And I think a lot of the change comes from raising your vibration and vibrational work, and actually sitting with discomfort. So I had a massive, massive fear of spending time alone, listening to myself thinking, because I was so uncomfortable with my emotions and I couldn't process them. And I was heavily traumatized and just living in a dissociative state. I would sleep for hours every single day because I was so tired. And my life is so different now. Like, I have energy in the day. I I found the things that I love doing, and they're not complex things. It's literally just looking at the sky, going outside, going for a walk, being slow and gentle with myself, because I deserve to be cared for. And when I give that responsibility and trust back to myself, I am cared for. And I was relying so much on other people to show up and perform for me, and they just weren't. And if you have anyone in your life that lets you down, maybe it's because you're letting yourself down. So I'm going to leave you with this question: how can I let go of fear? And how can I do one simple thing which will stop me from letting myself down? So it could literally just be listening to podcasts that inspire you. It could be spending 1 minute thinking or feeling. And that's all it really takes, because those small, tiny baby steps are going to expand so rapidly. And before you know it, you will not recognize your life. Thank you.